The M7 World Championship Swiss stage wasn't just another round of games. It literally reshaped the entire M7 narrative, separating the true contenders from the pretenders in jaw-dropping fashion with historic viewership records and edge-of-your-seat matches. The Swiss stage turned chaos into clarity and delivered our first real look at who could actually clinch the world title. But after all the wins, losses, and brutal eliminations, who still has a real shot at lifting the trophy? This is the story every MLBB fan is buzzing about right now. Welcome back to Mobile Legends News. If you thought group stages were intense, wait till you understand the Swiss stage in M7. This format pits 16 of the world's best teams against each other, using a performance-driven system where 3 wins earns a playoff spot and 3 losses mean elimination. No mercy, no second chances. It's a test of consistency, adaptability, and nerve under pressure. This phase not only decides who moves on, but also it builds momentum, confidence, and the narrative heading into the knockout rounds, and the results so far have been explosive. The M7 World Championship Swiss stage was the first real moment where hype met reality. This phase didn't just decide who moved forward. It revealed who was actually ready to win a world title and who was still figuring out things on the fly. Because of the Swiss format, there was no hiding behind lucky group draws or one-off wins. Every team had to earn 3 victories against opponents with similar records, meaning consistency, adaptability, and mental strength were tested every single round. By the time the dust settled, the tournament landscape looked very different from what many fans expected going in. Some teams entered the Swiss stage with clear preparation and left absolutely no room for doubt. Alter Ego from Indonesia was the most convincing example of this. Their 3-0 run wasn't just about winning games, it's about control. From the drafting phase all the way to late game execution, Alter Ego consistently dictated the pace. They rarely overforced fights. They punished positioning mistakes instantly, and their objective setups were clean and methodical. Watching their matches, you could tell this was a team that understood exactly who they were and how they wanted to win. Every victory looked intentional, not reactionary, and that kind of clarity is dangerous heading into a knockout bracket. Selangor Red Giants followed a similar path, but with a completely different flavor. Also finishing the Swiss stage at 3-0, SRG's run was fueled by confidence, unpredictability, and a willingness to challenge established giants head-on. Their win over Team Liquid PH sent shockwaves through the tournament, not just because of the result, but because of how it happened. SRG showed no hesitation in drafting creatively, making bold engages and trusting their mechanics in high-pressure situations. That kind of fearlessness combined with disciplined execution is what allowed them to secure a perfect Swiss record. By the end of the stage, SRG no longer felt like a surprise team. They felt like a genuine championship threat. Just behind the undefeated teams were squads that advanced cleanly but not flawlessly. Aurora Gaming PH, Aurora International, and Team Liquid PH all secured their knockout spots with 3-1 records, and each of them told a slightly different story. Aurora Gaming PH showcased resilience more than dominance. They didn't always control games from the start to finish, but they consistently found ways to establish and stabilize after shaky early games and win crucial teamfights when it mattered most. Their ability to regroup mid-series and adjust their approach is one of their biggest strengths, especially in a format where one bad game doesn't end your run, but can easily spiral if you lose confidence. Aurora International followed a similar trajectory, relying on steady execution and composure rather than overwhelming force. Their Swiss performance showed a team that understands fundamentals very well, with wave control, vision setup, and disciplined rotations. While they may not have delivered the flashiest highlights of the stage, their consistency allowed them to stay ahead of elimination pressure and qualify without needing a final round miracle. Team Liquid PH's Swiss stage journey was one of the most closely watched and also one of the most revealing. While they still demonstrated why they're considered one of the strongest organizations in MLBB esports, their loss to Selangor Red Giants was a reminder that even the most experienced teams are vulnerable if they hesitate or misread the meta. That defeat didn't eliminate them, but it forced them to adapt quickly. To their credit, Team Liquid responded well, securing qualification before the final round and showing improved coordination afterwards. Still, compared to the dominance of Alter Ego and SRG, Liquid looked strong but not untouchable. Where the Swiss stage truly delivered drama, however, was in the teams that had to fight through adversity just to survive. Onyx Indonesia's path to qualification was anything but smooth, finishing at 3-2. Onyx experienced both highs and lows that tested their mental fortitude. Early on, they showed the explosive potential fans expected from Onyx, but mid-stage losses to teams like Yang and Galacticos and Team Spirit disrupted their momentum. Suddenly, a team many assumed would cruise through Swiss was staring down the possibility of elimination. What stood out was how Onyx responded. Instead of collapsing under the pressure, they tightened their execution in the later rounds. Their wins against Evil and Team Falcons showed improved draft discipline and more patient mid-game decision-making. The final series that secured their qualification wasn't dominant, but it was controlled. And sometimes, that's exactly what you need. Onyx Swiss run painted the picture of a team that can struggle, adapt, and still deliver when everything is on the line. That kind of experience can become a hidden advantage in knockout play. Other teams who emerge as legitimate surprises is Yang and Galacticos, as their qualification highlighted the growing strength of regions outside the traditional MLBB powerhouses. Their aggressive approach and confidence in skirmishes allowed them to challenge and defeat more established teams. Their Swiss stage performance wasn't perfect, but it proved that they can disrupt favorites and force uncomfortable games, which is exactly the kind of team no one wants to face early in playoffs. Team Spirit's run was another eye-opener. Representing the CIS region, they showed that clean mechanics combined with relentless aggression can bridge experience gaps. Their victories weren't the result of opponents throwing games. They were earned through decisive engages and strong early game pressure. By pushing teams like Onyx to their limits, Team Spirit announced themselves as more than just participants. They became a symbol of how global the MLBB competitive scene has truly become. On the other side of the Swiss stage, however, were teams that simply couldn't keep up with the pace. The FYG and Boostgate esports were eliminated with 0-3 records, exiting the tournament without finding their footing. In the FYG's case, the issue wasn't mechanical skill, but coordination and tempo. Their drafts often lacked synergy, and their rotations failed to contest objectives effectively. Boostgate faced similar issues by struggling to translate regional success into international consistency. These early eliminations served as a reminder that preparation and adaptability matter just as much as raw talent at the world stage. Several teams hovered in the middle but ultimately fell short. Evil, Blacklist Sentence Esports, and Z1 each managed moments of promise but couldn't string together enough wins to survive. Their Swiss runs reflected inconsistency, winning one round then immediately dropping the next. In the Swiss format, that kind of volatility is fatal. Without the ability to adapt quickly between matches, even competitive teams can find themselves eliminated faster than expected. Looking at the bigger picture, the Swiss stage reinforced some regional trends while challenging others. Southeast Asia remains the heart of MLBB esports, with Indonesian, Filipino, and Malaysian teams dominating qualification spots. However, the gap is no longer as wide as it once was. Teams from Myanmar and the CIS region prove that structured aggression and strong preparation can threaten even the most established rosters. Meanwhile, regions like China struggled to translate domestic success into international results, highlighting differences in playstyle adaptation and global meta understanding. Perhaps the most important outcome of the Swiss stage is how clearly team identities emerge. Alter Ego established themselves as a disciplined, macro-focused powerhouse. SRG embraced unpredictability and fearless drafting. Aurora Gaming PH became known for resilience and composure under pressure. Onyx revealed a rollercoaster identity with volatility, but still capable of clutch brilliance, and Team Spirit embodied momentum-based aggression, while Yang and Galacticos showed the value of confidence and calculated risk-taking. The Swiss stage gave us clarity. It confirmed which teams are truly prepared to compete for the M7 crown. It exposed weaknesses even among favorites, and introduced new threats that can no longer be ignored. Dominant runs, grifty survivals, and unexpected eliminations reshaped expectations heading into the knockout rounds. But more importantly, every remaining team now enters playoffs with a defined identity, whether built on discipline, adaptability, or raw aggression, and that identity will decide who survives when the margin of error disappears. Now I want to hear from you. Which Swiss stage result shocked you the most? A favorite struggling? An underdog rising? Or a team completely falling apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Mobile Legends News because our full M7 playoff predictions and in-depth breakdowns are coming next. Till next time!